Hey everybody, Yankee here. You know, one of my favorite firearms from Ruger, heck, one of my favorite rifles, period, has always been the Mini14. There's just something special about a Mini14. They're very cool in a way that's completely different than like an AR-15 that shoots the same caliber. They're more rustic, and I've always liked them. It started back when I used to watch them on the A-Team. You know, I'm old. I grew up with the A-Team. I was actually a little older than a lot of people watching the A-Team at the time, but, you know, I liked the A-Team. Also liked Dukes of Hazzard, sue me. But I really liked them, especially the way that the A-Team could shoot into a crowd of people, you know, and not hit anyone when they didn't want to. That was awesome. I was like, wow, that gun's very accurate. And the way they could leave a perfect little dotted line on the ground when they were shooting at people as they were running made me want one of the guns from a very young age. But, you know, I didn't get one when I was young, but I have one now as an adult. But one of the problems I do have with the Ruger is the finish on the stainless gun. And I like stainless guns. I think everyone knows that. Not because they're prettier. I think blued is prettier. But because they're more durable. If you get a scratch on them, you just buff them out, etc. So I like guns I'm going to actually take out and shoot to be stainless. And the stainless finish on the Ruger is, shall we say, very rough. If you look at the finish on the metal, it's very rough. And I've had people talk to me about this before. They've said, why do they look so rough in person? When I see them in pictures, they look a lot nicer. Well, the reason for that is, well, the ones you see in pictures are usually prettied up for the pictures. They're promotional pictures and stuff. So someone has polished them up, brushed them up, you know, put a good shine on them. And some of the guns they actually make, they make a little prettier. Like, I do believe the new A-Team model they're putting out now, they actually spend a little more time on the finish. It looks a little more brushed out. So that's why some of them look better in pictures than they look in person. And in person, they do look really rough. But you can make them look really good very easily. And that's what I'm going to do today. All you need is some synthetic steel wool, a little bit of oil, and some time. So let's go down here and look at my Mini14. And we're going to put a little bit of a better polish on it today. All right, I've got all the parts sitting here that I'm going to need to polish up sitting in front of me. And I'm going to show you how easy this is to actually do. If you look at this piece right here, the trigger guard and the trigger assembly, I've actually started on that. If you've ever seen these in person before, you'll know they looked really crappy when I started. They looked very much like the finish on the other parts. It looked more like that finish right there. That's kind of what it looked like before I started brushing it. But this one that's been polished here looks a lot nicer. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. This one looked like the other one before, and I've heard people describe the Ruger stainless on the Mini14s as looking dirty and stained. And they look that way because they're very raw. There's a lot of imperfections in the finish. They hold a lot of grease, dirt, etc. But once you just give it a little brushing, as you can see, the sheen starts to come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some synthetic steel wool here and cut it into manageable sizes. You're not going to need a full size. This is actually like a partial sheet here because I've already cut some of it off. But let me cut a smaller piece of this. All I'm going to do now is spray some spray oil on the synthetic steel wool. Now, I want to emphasize this needs to be synthetic steel wool. This is where some people are going to bitch at me and say, oh, no, it can be just regular steel wool. Well, yeah, of course it can be regular steel wool. If you want your gun to start pitting and rusting, etc., go ahead and use regular steel wool because the little pieces that break off the wool as you're using it will embed themselves in the pores of the metal and they'll start to rust and it'll start to pit. So use the synthetic steel wool. All right, on this piece right here, now the only thing you really got to determine first is which way do you want to brush. If you look at the metal, you can usually see a grain pattern in it. And in this one, it's going up and down. So I'm just going to rub it up and down. After just a couple seconds of rubbing there, and that was really just a couple of seconds, you can already start to see the difference. So just break these parts down in front of your TV set and polish away while you're watching something. I usually do it while I'm watching old wrestling videos or Bigfoot videos. In fact, that's why the trigger guard was already done because I kind of jumped the gun earlier. Now you might think the barrel is the hard part, but the barrel's actually the easiest part. You just wrap the steel wool around it and just rub away. Most of you are used to rubbing your barrels, so just go at it. This wouldn't be a Yankee Marshall video if I didn't say something overtly sexual in it. A good way to do the barrels is just like put them in a vise, not between your legs like I'm doing right now, but put them in a vise and just go back and forth like you're shining some shoes. It'll be polished up in no time. Look at that noticeable difference after literally seconds of polishing. A place you'll really be able to see the difference is here on the receiver around the print. Look at how bad that is. That's pretty nasty. Now let's polish it for like 15 seconds. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 13, 1,000, 14, 1,000, 15, 1,000. I hope you could actually see that because that's a really nice difference after just 15 seconds of polishing. I hope it shows up on camera here. Now, if you want a finish that's a little bit less shiny, like a little more brushed, well, get a rougher steel wool, or synthetic steel wool, I should say. I'm using 4.0, or actually I might be using 3.0. Go down to 2.0. And you'll get more lines in your finish. It'll be a little rougher. The only part of the bolt here you see is the little knob that sticks out here. So I'm just going to take that, rub it right on a piece of steel wool. Instant brushed finish, looks nice. And you can do as much or as little of this as you want. You can leave it really rough looking, really brushed looking, or you can keep going till it's a mirror shine. That's up to you. I'm just going for a satin brushed look. And right now I'm going to take these parts. I'm going to go back in the house in front of the television so I can finish watching my tribute to Ric Flair. And when I'm done, I'll bring all this back out and put it back together. All right, all the pieces are polished to the level I want them polished to. So now all I've got to do is put this back together. So there you have it. It's all back together and it does look so much nicer now. It's really hard to show on camera how much nicer it looks, but it's really worth the effort and it's really not much effort at all. If you can disassemble the gun and you have a few simple things like a piece of synthetic steel wool and some gun oil with just a little bit of elbow grease, you can have your stainless Ruger looking just like those ones you see in the pictures.